Halito, Halito, Halito. Chamachuk, my beloveds. What it look like? What it look like, beautiful one? Halito, Halito, Halito. Press 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Want to make sure the sound is clear. What's up, beautiful ones? How y'all doing tonight? Hope everything is healthy. Hope everything is healthy, not just your body, but your mind as well. And all y'all situations. Hope things is looking up for y'all. So tonight we got the dope brother. I think he's a dope cat. Turtle Gang gonna be with us tonight. What's happening, beloved? Peace and love.
Peace, sister. How you doing?
I am well. I am well. Give me 1 second. There we go. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about family, the census. You know, and I also wanted to ask Brother Turtle Gang, I'm sure y'all know, he's been doing documentaries for such a long time. He's very good at what he does. The first thing I want to ask you, brother, is what made you interested getting behind the camera and editing? And I've watched a lot of your discography, and I've seen a lot of your work, and I just want to say it's a great job. Very creative, very creative. It's funny, hilarious. The dude that I knew what the dude is, that is like the funniest thing ever. I thought that was so dope and clever. But what made you get into filming and being behind the camera and editing and those kind of things?
Well, initially my background is a audio background. I'm a producer, engineer. You know, I've been recording in the studios since the early 90s. And it was just a natural progression from, you know, engineering to doing videos. A lot of my clients, you know, we would record music, and then, you know, obviously they would want a video to go with the music.
Right.
So, you know, I just started picking up cameras, shooting, editing, you know, and it just progressed from that. About 10 years ago, I went to IAR in Manhattan to get my certification so I could work, you know, do some work in major studios. And the fourth quarter in that class, they taught us actual video editing and, you know, sound design and things of that nature. And I kind of caught the bug after that, and I just fell in love with you know, visuals, being able to make films, things of that nature. And I kind of, you know, ever since then, that's been my passion. So, you know, I feel like it's a good medium. It allows me to incorporate all my artistic abilities. You know, I'm a graphic designer. I could draw. You know, I make music. I'm just very creative, and video allows me to combine all the elements together, and you know, use all my talents in one arena.
Right.
And it allows me to tell a story. So that's really where that comes from. You know what I mean?
That's dope. That's dope. So I know you've seen, you know, social media and some of the things that the people are talking about in the American Aboriginal community regarding the 2020 census. A lot of confusion, a lot of hopelessness I see, which I don't know why people are discouraged, especially by things that they, you know, don't really have a full understanding of. I did try to get in touch with Two Hawks to see if he would be able to accompany us, but I know he's very, very busy, and I didn't contact him soon enough to see if he would join us. So maybe we can also have a part 2, especially since that he invited us to meet with the U.S. Census Bureau. So I wanted to kind of have you help me elaborate more and clear up some of the confusion regarding how people should be classifying themselves and what they should be able to explain, and certainly what position that this will, you know, do for their family. And also just to express that this is not some magical thing that's going to just, you know, make everything go away. I definitely want to just make that a little clear for the people so they can have a better understanding. From your perspective, I've been speaking about it, but I don't think they've heard it from your point of view, and you were actually there as well.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for the people, we documented the whole meeting. So I'll be releasing that, sometime in the future. I'd like to work a little more closely with Two Hawks
Right.
before I actually chop the footage up and put it out there. But basically, the 2020 census is going to be instrumental for people who aren't on record anywhere as being indigenous, descending from actual tribes here in the Americas. So, those of us who don't have any connection on paper, this is going to be this is going to be the time where you can actually write in your different lineages, like as many as you know of. They're going to give you 300 characters, and you can write in your exact lineages, not Native American or American Indian.
Right.
You can get as specific as you need to, and include all your lineages. And that's going to be important. Not that it's going to change anything, right now, but we do things for something called the seventh generation principle, where you what you do now is going to reverberate and affect the generations to come, and you should always be thinking seven generations ahead. So we find ourselves in a position now where a lot of us are doing genealogy, and when you start going through your genealogy, you got to start decoding the things you're seeing. You got to find out what colored means, what this means, blah, blah, blah. So this is going to give us an opportunity to write in exactly who we are. So when the generations behind us come, they don't have to decode what it is that they're reading. They'll be able to see us say exactly who we are, and that'll be there for them. That's for me. That's the main thing that I get from it. Also, when you start getting into the deeper aspects of what the U.S. Census is for, and it's about them allocating money to different communities. And obviously, this is going to be something that Two Hawks can explain much more in depth. But
Right.
when you start getting into saying who you are, there's people who represent you, whether you know them or not. You know what I mean? Your local politicians, your organizers. So when they start allocating funds, like an example would be senior citizens. You know what I mean? When enough senior citizens are identified as being in one specific area, certain funds will get allocated to those areas to make life easier for senior citizens. You know what I mean? To build more ramps, things of that nature. So, the more people you have on record that are identifying as specific communities, at some point they'll have to start allocating funds to your community. You know what I mean? They'll have to start paying attention to the things that you have to say. So this is what's important for us moving forward. It's not going to change how you get treated in the streets. It's not going to change how the law deals with you, but it is going to have some type of effect. But we have to organize. You know what I'm saying? It's just one step in the many steps that need to be taken to better represent ourselves, in the communities we live in. I know a lot of people like to think, well, I'm not a part of this culture, civilization we live in, but you absolutely are. You get up every day, you go to work, you spend, whether you want to call it fiat money, whatever, like you're indulging in all these things. So why not represent yourself on a local level, more accurately? So that's what it means to me. So I've encouraged all my family members to include Lenape, Cherokee, and whatever else lineages they have specific to their line. But as a family, we're all, as many as I have reached, we are all going to include Sandhill Band Lenape on our we're going to identify as that. So now it'll be on record that there are Sandhill still in Monmouth County. And that's the first start. So that's what That's what's really important, and that's what I take from it. Obviously, when I go over the footage a little more in depth, and we have more conversations with Two Hawks, we'll be able to cover more aspects of what it's going to do for you. But this is where it starts in terms of us just going on record as being who we are. Now, I know there's some people who be like, oh, they were trying to find out, all this little conspiracy, like, I don't want to insult nobody, but people be real spooked about things. Oh, they want to find out who we are. These people already know who you are. Right. You know what I'm saying? You may not know that they understand who you are, but these people exactly, they know who we all are. You know what I'm saying? So if they wanted to do something to you, they would have been done it. They've already done it. You know what I'm saying? People say we at war. Nah, the war is over. They won. You feel me? Like ain't nobody out here attacking us because we're going to say who we are. That's already happened. You know what I mean? Now it's about reorganizing ourselves, you know what I'm saying, and representing ourselves properly. You know what I mean? If they're going to come for you, they're going to come for you. So,
That's right. That's right. And if they coming for you, you might want to check on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Might want to check that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was great. I appreciate that. I hope that, the people understand, again, you have to live. Well, I'm 44. You have to live I have to live at least till I'm 78 years old just to see myself in the 1980 census. They're released every 72 years. So we won't see, some of us still won't even get to see our parents in the 1950 census, right? Which won't be released until 2022. But even with, all the mistakes and all things that have happened before, this is going to be the start of us demonstrating that we're responsible with our relationships with these government agencies as well. Absolutely. It's not just so much as what they don't do for us. It's what we're not, living up to our obligations in order to be serviced in the manner in which we feel that we should be serviced.
Absolutely. We have to hold them accountable to their positions. If we don't, when we acquiescing to their will and we sitting back and we not participating in a government that, regardless of what people want to think, our ancestors absolutely were 50% of setting up these governments.
That's right.
I mean, when you look at local seals of, and this is important for people to understand that the 13 colonies are different than the states that came later. The federal government created states, but the first 13 colonies were not created by the federal government because the federal government didn't exist.
It didn't exist. That's
right. You know what I mean? So a lot of times they talk about treaties being broken. The treaties that the federal government has with the more Western nations are very different than the treaties that we, the people, have with the original people who, when I say original, I'm talking about the original colonists that we set up these colonies with. Now, I mean, they're very different. And many of our tribes haven't renegotiated the treaties. Therefore, we're still in proper standing. The treaties are still in proper standing. We're just not enforcing them. You know what I mean? So the movement we talking about is going to start within the 13 original colonies. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, our treaties are different than those that were created later on during the push westward and things of that nature, because we set up our states and our governments and our local municipalities. We were just as much a part of it as the Europeans. You know what I mean? So I get a lot of people saying, oh, you are part of the federal government. No, the way our treaties are set up, we have the right to participate in this government. We have the right to do commerce because they're doing commerce on our lands. So why should I not partake in that? You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I am no longer a citizen of my nation. It means I am taking full advantage of what my ancestors set up for me. Right. You know what I mean? So, we have to participate. We have to organize ourselves and participate in that. So we as much to blame as anything as what they've done to us. We are as much to blame for it because we're not being responsible for ourselves.
Absolutely. I concur wholeheartedly. So, I mean, listen, brothers and sisters, it's, some of us are pretty seasoned, where time is not really, it's not that anybody's going to be kicking the bucket, but some of these plans that we need to have going forward should already be in place. There should already be a go-to mode to where, the family knows how to react to certain stimuli and, just being prepared. And part of that being prepared is being aware of what's going on around you and some of your responsibilities as far as releasing yourself from some of these oppressive ways that a lot of people have been conditioned to believe that this is all there is to it. There is a lot more, and definitely not placing any of that blame, and absolutely making sure that we start holding ourselves accountable for some of the things that we neglect. And the things that we neglect are a direct result of some of the reasons that people are suffering and going through what they're going through right now. It started with us, it's going to end with us, and nothing is going to change that. There's nothing that's going to be able to automate our self-governing, and getting used to being able to self-govern amongst each other, being able to do business with each other and get along with one another. And that's going to start, and it's quite obvious the way people deal with their families now. You know, is I don't think that people are going to, and I don't want to say this to the, to the pain of regarding people that don't have the heavy connections with their families and stuff like that. But for the ones that do, I'm always going to suggest that you mend and repair these relationships and think about business and really think about, consider it as racism that must be practiced, because racism is your family, that's your stock. And this is the competitiveness that we are supposed to be dealing with in the world. And from the family is your tribe. And from the tribe, they're your clans. And then from your clans, you have your nations. And we have to start within our own borders and confinements of our own abodes.
Yeah. It's I hear a lot of people say, well, my family, we're not as tight. We're not this and that. Right now, what we all suffer from is economics, right? And ain't nobody gonna turn down $1. Nobody, right? So what I suggest to people is start a business in your family name. Those are your family that ain't with it. Okay, do what you do, set your business up. When it becomes profitable, those same family members that laughed at you, didn't have nothing to do with you. See what I'm saying?
That's right.
So now, like when you look at a corporate structure and you look at a tribal structure, they're very similar. Corporations are based on family structures, tribal structures. You know what I mean? So as you're setting up your corporation, you're also setting up the framework for your tribe, right? Now, when people talk about I'm trying to find my tribe, your family is your clan, is your tribe, just as you stated. You need to find your place within your greater nation. But before you can do that, you got to get your business together amongst your clan. You know what I mean? Like we shouldn't be going to our nations as individuals. You should be going to your nation representing your clan, right? Representing your family. So in order to do that, you got to organize your family. And I don't care if it just starts with 7 people, starts with 3 people, whatever it starts with. When your family starts to see you making moves and doing things that are going to be beneficial for them, they all going to want peace. Like, trust me, they all going to want a piece, because, this is about getting your finances together. Like, I don't care if you're starting a company that sells lollipops. You know what I mean? Start selling lollipops.
That's right.
And once you make some money off that, flip that into something else and keep growing. You know what I mean? Invite family members in. You know what I mean? Once you start getting enough money where you all of a sudden got a pot now you can create a council and you can ask people what suggestions you have for us to organize our family with. Set up scholarships for children in your family. Now, when I say scholarships, I'm not like, it doesn't have to be a full-blown, it could be a book scholarship. You know what I mean? All of us have large enough families where we got people going to school every year. You know what I mean? If you show that you're doing something for the people within your family, the rest of your family gonna want to get on board. And this ain't got nothing to do with you telling them, oh, we getting our tribe together. handle your business.
Right.
And once you handle your business, your family is going to recognize that, and then they're going to want to be a part. And next thing you know, you looking up and you got a tribal or a business council, but that business council is also your tribal council.
That's right.
See what I'm saying? Like, you don't even have to speak that language. You don't have to speak the language to your people. A lot of us got people in our family that are Christians, that want to, that believe in different theories that may or may not be true. You don't have to deal with none of that. Deal with finances. And when you start dealing with finances, that's how you empower yourself. You don't have to attach any belief system to it, anything. All you have to do is start primarily dealing with finances within your family, and you're going to see that people will start to pay attention to what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I know this to be fact because this is what I've done with my family. Not just saying me, this is what those of us who were more interested than the rest of us began. And at this point now, you know, my family is completely on board. You know what I'm saying? So we don't got to complain about, oh, my family ain't with it. They Christian, they this, they that. Go over their head and deal with finances. And that's going to change a lot of what they have to say.
That's right. That's right. I agree. I agree. These are the same things, you know, that we talk about often here. The same things we talk about often, man, getting it together with the family. Is really no other way to do it. And every other way, it may happen for some people, but it's not going to have the same effect.
Okay.
It's not going to have the same effect.
You know, it's brother here, Copper Colored K, says, how do we form new tribes outside of recognized tribes? That's a concept we got to dead. There ain't no such thing as a new tribe. There's no new bloodlines on the planet. There's no new nations. We all come from nations, right? You're not forming a new tribe. If your tribe is no longer functional, then it's up to you to reorganize your tribe and step back into the arena, which is your nations, right? And it's in terms of federally recognized, 9 times out of 10, because of who we are, our tribes pre-exist. Like, well, all our tribes predate the federal government. But 9 times out of 10, because of who we are and what we've been through, right? For us to ask for federal recognition, it's like you asking your grandchildren to recognize you. Like, who does that? You only asking for federal recognition if you want the federal government to give you money. That's not what we want. You don't need the federal government to give you money. You just got to be about your business and create your own way. Like, all this, like, people don't understand. Federally recognized are the tribes who came into contact with the federal government. The federal government wasn't created until the 1700s, almost the 1800s. Our tribes encountered these people pre-1800, pre-1776. You understand? So why are we asking somebody that we helped create, that we gave sanction to recognize us? People say to me, oh, is your tribe federally recognized? Why would we ask for federal recognition when my specific people gave New Jersey the right to exist? New Jersey existed before the federal government. So why would I even think about going to the federal government, asking them to recognize us? It doesn't make sense. Now, if you come from a tribe that encountered the federal government initially, then you might need to get recognition from them. But the majority of our people, our tribes, did not encounter the federal government. We encountered the colonists.
That's right.
We encountered the British, the Dutch, the Spanish, the French, right? And the British, the Dutch, the Spanish, the French, they all recognize us. So what we need to be doing is organizing ourselves. And if you need to go across seas and reestablish treaties with these foreign governments, right, then that's what you need to do. But to be asking the federal government for recognition is simplistic. It's moronic. Like, I wish I could think of more words to be more insultive to get people to understand that's not what you want. Unless you want to get paid, unless it's just about money, then you need to go beg them for recognition. My particular people, we existed before New Jersey. New Jersey is a part of the Union of States.
Right.
that we call the United States, right? So if New Jersey agreed to be a part of the United States, that's on New Jersey. My agreement, my tribe's agreement is with the state of New Jersey. We allowed them to exist on our lands. See what I'm saying? Long before the federal government existed. So it's just backwards to ask them for recognition. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to work in your best interest. Your best interest is to organize yourself and stand on the agreements that our ancestors made prior to the federal government ever being created.
That's right. That's right. That's real simple. I hope that was very clear and concise. I don't think I would have been able to say it better. You know, you got to understand that you predate a lot of these constructs. Understand that you predate, you know, a lot of these things that you see regarding Native Americans. We already know what the difference is between the American Indian and the Native American, and whatever it is that they're doing, that's fine. And I used to try and stress it to them before things got so vitriolic, you know, and the vehemence and stuff as a result of some of these trying to have some of these conversations. These Native Americans that we meet online don't represent all Native Americans. You know, I have had some wonderful experiences in California with the Pachanga, the Pala, and the Morangas, and also with the California Choctaws. And I found them to be very pleasant people. You know, my experiences with them were not salty. They were not bitter. They were not full of debates and contempt.
Not at all.
There was nothing about it. They actually knew some of the history, and they felt concerned for me, like they felt concerned for themselves. And these are people that have huge casinos out there on the West Coast. I'm talking about they have huge casinos. And I looked and I talked on some of the conditions that I see in those places, and it doesn't matter that they have these casinos that make these billions of dollars. A lot of people are still suffering. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when I went out west, I told when I encountered the different tribes that I was in Arizona, I told them who I was, and men twice my age called me grandfather because they know who we are. They know the history. You know what I'm saying? Like, so as I tell people, like, don't let the internet trolls you encounter speak for everyone. That's like letting the crackhead on your block speak for everybody in your neighborhood.
Right.
Like you would never think the sentiments of a crackhead spoke for everybody in your neighborhood. So why would you think that these miserable trolls online, and I don't care how many you encounter, I don't care if you encounter 1,000 of them, that's a small, minuscule number compared to the nations that they come from. You know, if you sit down with a chief and he starts saying all this crazy stuff to you, then you might have an issue because that chief is in authority. And he's somebody, and when I say in authority, he's in authority over his tribe. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean he has authority over you. But, you know, as I tell people before, like, you want to come to these other people representing your nation, not as individuals. You know what I mean? Like, we need to have international dialogue with these other nations. You know what I'm saying? None of these trolls online are representing their nation. They're representing their own personal views and their own limited understanding of who they are and who they think we are. You know what I mean? As I stated earlier, most of these tribes did not encounter the European until the 1800s. We had been detribalized for almost 200 years by then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what makes you think that they're going to know who we are? There was no internet in the 1700s. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as I know, why would we even know that these other tribes, like if you from an Eastern Coast tribe or Southeastern tribe, why would you even know that there's a tribe in Washington in the West? Like, how would you know that? You know what I mean? Like, there's absolutely no way you would know anything about these people, nothing about their customs or anything. Because unless you encounter them, you know what I mean? We only deal with things as far as the eye can see. You know what I'm saying? So why do we expect these people way out west to know who the hell we are, or to think that they're somehow complicit in what happened to us? You know what I mean? Like, we got to stop being so bitter, and we just got to get on our business, man. Handle our own business. Stop worrying about everybody else.
Right.
Don't like. I love all the tribes. You know what I mean? But my prime responsibility is to my own tribe, and that's not being divisive. Nah, because there's protocol. Like, my chief talks to your chief. See what I'm saying? That's how we get along. That's how we interact. You know what I mean? Once my chief says it's okay for us to interact with y'all and do trade with we all, then we do trade. That's the protocol. It ain't just we all look the same and we all one people. Like, nothing works if we all one people, because if we was all one people, we would all have one language.
That's right.
And we don't. We have different languages, we have different territories, different customs, and we have to respect each other's customs, traditions, and territories. And that's how we get along. That's how we create confederations. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we work together. We don't work together because we need one big name that we all can come under. That's just going to create confusion, because there's too many different groups with too many different interests. An inland tribe is not going to have the same interests as a tribe that exists on the shore. You know what I mean? They're going to have different, what's important to them is going to be very different. You know, like, even the Thanksgiving concept, like, Thanksgiving is something that comes about because of the seasons and the harvest, right? So someone on the west or someone down south, you're not going to have the drastic changes in the seasons. So it's certain things they're not going to recognize, because there's no need for them to. It's warm all year round in Florida. You know what I mean? So they got harvest all year round. It ain't like it is in the east, upper east. You know what I mean? Where it's frigid half the year. You know what I mean? So we have different cultures, different ways of life, and we have to recognize that. You know what I mean?
That's right. I agree. I want to open up the phone line. Norris, would you mind taking a couple of calls?
No, I have no problem with that.
No questions? Okay. All right. I'm going to drop the number in the chat. And if you guys have any questions, definitely give us a call. Over here.
Yeah,
okay.
And,
I dropped that number. Yeah, they're looking for the hoodies. Norris, you got the fly gear for them.
Yeah, well,
plug the hoodie for them.
This one I got on right now is this is like the hoodie of my nation. So it's not like this is something that we would sell just on some fashion thing. You know what I mean? This is something I bought at a gathering of the nation. You know what I'm saying? So it's not something that I personally would feel comfortable replicating and selling to people. You know what I mean? But I appreciate, the interest. If it's any Lenape out there, you have the right to attend a gathering, and if someone is selling them, you have the right to get you one. You know what I mean? But in terms of just, that's not really how it works. And then I would be misrepresenting my people. You know what I mean? Just trying to make $1 off this particular hoodie I have. But you can go to turtlegang.nyc and go to the shop Turtle, and we got all types of hoodies in there and different things that hopefully you'll like, and you might want to spend a little coin with me. That's fine. If it's anything that people would request, we could sit up and create a design specific to you and your nation, represent your people. You know what I mean? But as I said, I have a lot of Turtle Gang apparel available. You know what I mean? And just real quick, when I say Turtle Gang, I'm representing, that was created to represent everyone on Turtle Island. You know what I mean? Whether you consider yourself a member of Turtle Gang or not, you are part of Turtle Gang because you exist on Turtle Island. You know what I mean? And that's our common ground. So, to me, everybody's Turtle Gang. So I would love for everybody to rep the brand, because it's not just about me promoting myself. It's about us bringing awareness to who we are as a people. You know what I mean? So, as I said, people can go to turtlegang.nyc and click the shop Turtle, and I got all types of things on there that hopefully people will appreciate and want to feel like they want to rock. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, we do have the first caller. Okay, Tennessee, Halito, thank you for joining us.
I interact with y'all quite a bit on other platforms, but I want to bring up a few questions here because I get asked a few of these questions by family and down because I know the video, be able to replay. When it comes to like nation, like once you create your trust with your family, the various like tribal things and whatnot, and you deal with statehood, states, countries, and all of that. How does that work with passports and things of that nature, as far as like international travel? Would that be differences in those, or would you fill it out in a manner to where you still are not, a United States citizen in that regard? How would you all approach that particular thing, or would you not even get one at all? Those are the questions I mainly get asked.
Okay. Just real quick, when you start talking about passports, right? That's dealing with international treaties, right? So any one of us can write, if you want to travel to a foreign country, you can write ahead to that country and you can ask for permission to go to that country. And what they'll do is they'll do background checks, all types of things on you. You know what I mean? And it'll be up to them whether or not they want to grant you access to their country. But what's going to happen is if you go over there, let's say you as an individual get granted the right to go to another country. You don't, not using a United States passport. You go there and something happens to you. Who's coming to get you? You know what I mean? Like who's gonna stand for you if something happens to you over there? And this is what I say: our people have the right to participate in this United States government via our state rights. You know what I'm saying? So, like I would suggest until you in a position to where your nation is strong and y'all got, y'all are well represented and you have treaties with other nations, like trying to create a passport on your own, to me is just, it's like it's a battle you don't need to fight right now. You know what I mean? Like, how is that bettering what's really going on? Like, if you're a part of a nation that is deep and y'all government is still active, well then your government should be creating international agreements with other nations, where now you can travel to those other nations via the agreements or the treaties that your nation has with France or with Egypt or with whatever country you want to go to. That's something that goes on between nations. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get our nations together, you know what I mean? Or you got to tie back into your existing nation. A lot of our nations have been, for lack of a better word, they've been dissolved. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us got to start, we got to find out who we were, how we represented ourselves under what proper titles that are historically recorded. You know what I mean? Get active again under those titles. And then you can go to other nations and be like, yeah, y'all remember us. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. You can go into their history books, and be like, yeah, I'm this. Y'all remember y'all had a treaty with us and such. You know what I mean? And then you start to enact your rights as a nation. But I would not suggest to people that if you just coming into this, like that's you biting off a lot more than you really can chew. And I wouldn't suggest it. I think it would be a waste of time at this point. Like you need to be strong. You need to be a strong nation that's dealing with international trade. Because what benefit would another country have to even allow you to come to their country if you're not bringing anything financially? You know what I mean? If you're not contributing to their economics. You know what I mean? Most people that travel to other countries are doing so as tourists. You know what I mean? They come in to spend money. So, like, if you,
go ahead.
No. I was, it wasn't much more I was gonna say on that.
People that have, open gateways for different countries in Africa regarding trade with resources and different entrepreneurial ventures. So, ideally, being able to create a market for some of the raw materials that you can get from other places, whether it be South America, Africa, or otherwise, being able to set those things up yourself and just stop on that. So,
yeah, and that goes back to handling your business. Like another nation is going to want to mess with you if you got something to offer. You know what I mean? So that, like I said, that goes back to us handling our business, creating businesses. You know what I mean? Creating wealth that other nations are going to want to partake in. You know, if you're doing trade with a nation, they're going to mess with you. If you making money with another nation, they're going to mess with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the same can be said for the United States of America. If the United States of America can get money with you, they're gonna recognize you. Trust me. You know what I mean? Because that's all they about is money. So if you want federal recognition, get your business together.
Right. Get you some business.
I appreciate that time, man, you took for that, and keep doing your thing, man. You'll be hearing more from me. Can I say one more thing before I get off?
Yes.
I have a platform. I probably hit a bunch of y'all up in the inboxes, emails, and all that. That's a lot of features like you see for like the pay-per-view stuff, the on-demand stuff, to where instead of like dealing with their viewing systems and all of that, to have our own streaming platform. It's API convertible to Apple TV, Android TV, any type of set-top box. You can do your own stick. It connects with Amazon, whatever platform known here. So basically, we can create our own little network. It also has 24-hour program with a bunch of stuff. So I know a lot of y'all have programs and shows. That's a lot of following, but I know we deal with censorship a lot. And also not really controlling the narrative, but as the brother was saying, getting the business in order, we'll be able to have the same type of platform with the same type of advertising dollars and everything else that we can actually grab and get the same type of people to pay for it, to where we can really focus a lot more time on a lot of these endeavors for our respective nations. So if anybody's interested in that, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. And hey, hit me up and we can build on it. So I want to talk more in depth, but I just wanted to mention that real quick and get back to it.
Yeah, well, inbox me on Facebook. Just inbox me, and I'm gonna put that in my. And I'll definitely get back and get in touch with you, because that's a part of the economics we need to be taking advantage of. You know what I mean?
That's right.
As a people, like it's a lot we have to offer to the world.
I definitely hit y'all up. I'll put my contact information out there.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to sit down, do our own thing, man, without these folks censoring our information and controlling our flow.
Absolutely.
I get it. That's brilliant. What you're doing. I love the sound of it. Definitely want to speak with you more in depth about it. And thank you so much for calling. Thank you very much.
Likewise, I love the energy and keep doing the thing. And whatever else I need, holla at me.
Absolutely. Chupisa la chique.
All right, now.
All right. I did lose the last caller, but then, call in 480-744-2636. 480-744-2636. You guys got some really interesting questions. And I respect the fact that, everybody's being respectful and peaceful. I definitely respect that. And just not being afraid to start asking these questions. I guess that's why a lot of us are here, because we all had a lot of questions. And the only dumb questions are the ones that you don't ask. So I say never stop asking questions. You always want clarity on things. You always want clarity on things. Do we have any other callers? 480-744-2636. I don't know what's wrong with my camera. I'm trying to show it. I just realized my face wasn't showing. Don't know what's happening. And the camera is not off. Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there. Let me look at some of the things going on in the chat. You guys got any questions in the chat? Ha 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 ha. Like my grandma said, the only dumb questions are the ones you don't ask. Here we go. We got Minnesota on the line. Hold on one moment, guys. Halito, Halito, Halito.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Sister Felix?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Good to hear from you.
I'm just coming back on the line. I've been gone for a minute. But the gentleman made a statement. The gentleman made a statement, Sister Phoenix, regarding family.
Yes.
And there's so much confusion, and there are families that are torn apart, and they're just not able to come together. Could we be wasting our time trying to bring these families together instead of getting on with what we need to do regarding the movement?
My thing is, how do you move without your family?
Families are torn apart. They're divided. They are against this many things that's being done in the Aborigine community.
Well, see, this is the thing. This is how I feel about it. The community you're actually involved in is your local community. You know what I mean? We can all exchange information online, and it could be an online community, but the community you actually interact with are the people you see on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? So you need to be dealing with the people within your physical community as well as your family. Now, whatever family members want to be a part of it, that's who you work with. You know what I mean? You're not going to get everybody on board, but once you start doing positive things, a lot of what you're talking about is going to get washed away. You know what I mean? Trust me, my family background, like if I told you the stuff about my family, like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, out of respect for my family, I'm not going to get into that, but we have a lot of turmoil within my family, you know what I mean? But when people started to see the information I was presenting, and it's undeniable, it starts to change things. Like, you can't have an opinion over who your grandmother is.
That's
You
right.
can't have an opinion over who your great grandmother is, who your great grandfather is. You can only bear witness to it. You know what I mean? So a lot of the issues we have are misunderstandings that are based on beliefs and, opinions and things of that nature. I don't deal with none of that. Don't deal with any of those things. Deal with what's concrete. You know what I'm saying? And if that don't begin to heal, then but like, none of this is going to happen overnight. Most of us are not going to see the fruits of the labor of the work we putting in. That's what the 7th generation principle is about. But somebody got to start it. And if we got to be the ones in this generation to sacrifice ourselves, then so be it. You know what I mean? Whatever issues, like my elders and my family had issues with each other, right? I grew up in a town where half the town was my family, and I didn't even interact with half of my family, right? But at this point now, the younger generations have moved past the beefs that the older generation have, and we tight, and we moving forward together. And we don't even know what our parents was beefing about, and we don't even care. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes these families are gonna have to die off. You know what I mean? You let them die off. and you don't infect the next generations. You know what I mean? So, you know, at the end of the day, none of this is going to happen overnight. We ain't get into this overnight, and we're not going to get out of it overnight. You know what I mean? So plant the seeds. This is why I say deal with business, deal with finances, and deal with, you know, lineage. Anything else, don't like, it don't matter. Religion, appearance, none of these things matter. You got to deal with concrete things that like everybody got to eat.
That's right. That's right. And it's always going to be hard to communicate with hungry people, honey. So again, you know, sometimes we got to lead by example. That is like the best thing that I can say. We all can relate to these situations. This is the same thing I was dealing with a few years ago. But now I have demonstrated certain things that can't be denied. And then, of course, having the genealogy, what can you tell me? We related to the same people. Our mothers or sisters, or our fathers or brothers. Like, there's no way around this. We all got the same kinfolk. So whether this one calls himself an Israelite, or this one wants to be a Baptist or a Christian, I don't even let any of that interfere with how my relationship is with them prior to me being so serious about the final outcome of how we leave this place, you know, with our family name intact, and with our legacies behind for our children. And so I made it pretty clear, especially my target, the ones that was the hardest was the elders. But I also had to lead by example. You know, they have worked really hard for everything that they have. You know, I'm from the Generation X crowd, where they wasn't really sure how things was going to shake out with us. You know, we were, you know, always did things a little differently than what they were used to. So, you know, being able to maintain a reputation and a certain rapport with your family members, that was always important to me. So my behavior was always going to be in the back of my mind, how is it going to make my family look? You understand? So things like that, I've gained some sort of favor by some of the things that I've been able to fix, and for my dedication for seeing things from the beginning to the end. So I have established a rapport with the elders, who was the hardest shell to crack. So, and it didn't start with me telling this one, don't eat this, or don't do that, or don't believe this, or don't believe that. That wasn't it. It was, I had to demonstrate it with deeds, acts, and things that made a lot of our situations better, and making people feel a little more secure in some of the things that I've learned in order to do these things. And I've done it with certain situations that they didn't, you know, think I was going to be able to do it the way I said it should be done. And they've benefited from it. One thing my grandfather used to always say, if you save me money, you make me money, you know? So things in that nature, just being able to perform certain duties. And not only that, you know, I go to doctor's appointments. I stay home with my sick aunties. I'll go to the Bronx and I'll cook for my uncles. Like, you know, not all of them have children. So it's a lot of affairs and stuff that I keep up with that tie up my time. My children, they're very self-sufficient, and they don't mind sharing me either. But I'm there for them, and now they make it clear that they're there for me too. You know, so it doesn't happen overnight, and this is a process. And you know, if I got 10 cousins that will agree to commit to some things, hopefully, when we do that, the other ones that were skeptical, maybe we can get 10 more on board. Sometimes people have to see how serious you are, or see what the benefits are, but you can't tell a hungry person how to fix something and they don't see any immediate results. You know, sometimes our people have become very visual. They need to see what's there before, you know, they invest in it, or even commit themselves to learning something different, or being able to advance forward in whatever way that they're capable of doing so.
Like, just from my own personal experience.
So much.
You're very welcome.
So much. Peace and blessings to you.
Peace and blessings to you too. Thank you so much.
Personal experience, like growing up, I come from a huge family, right? But I happen to be one of the few people in my family that comes from a single parent home. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to say I was a bad kid, but I did a lot of things I'm not proud of as a youth, because I didn't have the guidance that other family members had. So growing up, I was always looked at. Now I don't want to say looked down upon, but you know, I was not one of the more favorite youth in my family. You know what I'm saying? So when I started to bring forth, you know, the information and started to really say, you know what, we need to embrace who we were. You know what I mean? A lot of my elders looked at me as the same little young dude. You know what I mean? Didn't have I never earned their respect. So now I was older and I had to earn their respect. So, but a lot of them still looked at me as, you know, little knucklehead, this and that. But I just had to stay true, had to be diligent. And the same people that look down on me now stand with me. You know what I mean? And these are people who are my elders, who are my elder cousins, my aunts, my uncles, people who know all the things that I did as a youth. You know what I mean? But now they're like, wow, he's grown. You know what I'm saying? And they respect me for what I'm doing now. And these are people who, like, I've had members of my own family who have tried to deny who we are. You know what I'm saying? And they've gone hard. I'm talking about people with degrees and all the accolades that come with, you know, being successful in the culture we live in. I'm talking about people who consider themselves successful African Americans. They did not want to hear what I had to say, despite the fact that what I'm saying is what their grandmother said. You know what I mean? Despite the fact that what I'm saying is what, you know, the county, Monmouth County says, what the history of our town says. You know what I mean? What the history books say, because my people are written about in our local history books. Like, this is not something where, oh, my grandmother said it. No, this is something that, you know what I mean? We have monuments to my family where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? It's just that we kind of walked away from that. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just do the work and the right people will respect you and you know, people start to come back into the fold. But you like the sister said, you got to do the work. You got to show and prove. You got to be a leader. You know what I mean? You got to lead by example. Peace, sister. You still there?
Also,
My bad, I'm here. I'm here. I'm sorry. We got Ohio on the phone. This is G Major, y'all. I'm sorry. I had my mic on mute while my mic on mute while I was answering the phone. I do apologize.
It's cool. It's all gravy. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. During the holiday or the Thanksgiving season, I know as you and the brother Turtle Gang have been talking about, you know, as far as when you go to your family, you know, yes, especially the older generation that is like a good portion of people, they're indoctrinated into the dogma systems, you know, and sometimes if to say that you are that chosen one and you're coming with your ancestors are now in this age, your ancestors are speaking to you, or you just got this thing to where you're on this type of platform and you're learning or even intuitively knowing about your family members. Just like brother Turtle Gang did say, you know, sometimes your family, you know, depending on your interaction with your family, you don't want to put it all the way out there. But yeah, you can be looked upon as what is he talking about? And as you just said, Sister Phoenix Moon, or no, I think it was Turtle Gang. If you saving me money, you making me money. You know, with Grandpa, and we always call my grandfather Chief. You know, so I would say I kind of was feeling down in the sense of certain things that I've been through with so to speak, dealing in the administrative process as far as commerce in law, dealing with lawful situations, as far as me
saving my mother's house from foreclosure and then being cast in jail for 46 days. But they dropped all the felonies, and because I created a trust and appointed the prosecuting attorney as the trustee, did a tolling of time. And so they accepted, of course, as far as non-answering is you're accepting. But as far as with, like one brother was talking about, as far as the passports, as Brother Turtle Gang said, unless you're in this, and it's going to take some time, a good 2-3 years plus to even start to understand this. When you're dealing with going overseas or to other nations, then yeah, if your nation isn't established and put on public notice to go somewhere and see another place, then if you haven't captured your actual your person, which is your corporation, your legal fiction, then then as the natural man, you want to present a declaration of status, because the passport they do have, they call it the nationality of the United States, and the United States does not have a nationality. Mm-hmm. America is the nation, and we are the peoples of America, the tribes of Israel, or and I ain't talking about Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that, but the American indigenous tribes here. So that's in that direction. But I tell you this, when I was feeling down, I remember seeing your sister pop in the background in one of the videos, and I just smiled to myself. When I think of y'all, and my spirit came back, as positive as always. But my family and a lot of family members, unless you are coming with show and prove, they ain't trying to hear you a lot of times, and sometimes you can be looked at as where is he coming from? I ain't stepping on that because, this ain't how this gonna be. How what he talking about? I can get into trouble. But as I was saying in the area of commerce is owned by them, just like when you do travel abroad. You can't take but $10,000 with you, because just like the Social Security card, the debt notes are owned by them. Mm-hmm. So it's big money to another nation. You can influence the area that you go to. So still yet us as in God's law and in natural law, we dealt with barter and trade. And it's just like us as being Aboriginal, Indigenous, American natives. When you pop that and spark up that peace pipe or that blunt nowadays, today, don't be doing no commerce and look at somebody else to say, hey, I got that, and you sell it to them with their debt notes. That's commerce, and you're stepping into an arena. Whereas if you was just giving your brother or sister some good herb, that's how we did it back then. I'm sharing some love, and I'm gonna check your spirit and soul, because after you hit this sticky icky, I'm gonna know how you are. So it depends on which side of the platform, private and public, that you want to stand on. Barter and trade. Give your brother, if your brother or sister is doing something for you, of course you give the same energy. As I said, and I even heard Dark Man X say this, we are the money. We are the money. So, and back in the day, in the 80s, I heard Oprah say an acronym for money, which is my own net energy yield. Good energy to keep that current flowing. If you're gonna operate in commerce in their of how they're gonna get you to expend your energy. So, hey, I've been through some stuff, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to be too long with it, but I remember one of your videos, this Phoenix Moon, when you were saying what you went through with your son, and I remember when I first got here and then went back and then came back, from Houston, Texas, I was separated from my son, while he was 2.5 years old, and everything I've experienced son sleeping right next to me from bringing him home from the hospital with his mother. But I tell you, back then, and I ain't just trying to put these people out there, but back then in 2014, I reached out to Brother P. Brother P. Light, and I was, I got his wife on the phone, and she was like, well, I was trying to understand status, which I've learned a whole lot on my own, and you got to teach yourself practically or be blessed enough to come across people like yourselves and then get together. If you're blessed enough to get the time from sisters and brothers like the two of you now and the other ones like Dark Man X and people that are out there. But I tell you, I remember she said, well, yeah, just go ahead and get you a tax deed. Yeah, and I checked her spirit. I heard the way she said it. And you can't do nothing properly if you don't know what you're doing. But, I never gave them my money, So I'm just saying, in this learning your nation, learning your family names, honoring your mother and father's names 4 generations back, walk the path on your own. And to all the brothers and sisters in the chat, hey, if we come together, it's all gravy, baby. We can get that, but be prepared to get the information yourself from being directed by sisters and brothers like Turtle Gang. That said, as they say, who'll be saying it, I yield the floor.
That's right. Well, I want to thank you so much for calling. Thank you so much, G Major. We got some other people here. I'm gonna let Norris answer some of your question. And thank you so much for calling, brother.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Peace out, Chike. Okay.
I mean, that was more of a statement.
More of a statement, yes.
Yeah. I don't see anything I can really add on to that. I mean, I agree with the brother has to say. Whatever I don't agree with, that's my own personal, you know what I'm saying, opinion, and I don't think that's necessary at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I try to keep my opinions to myself and just deal with what I know to be truthful and factual.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate everything the brother had to say. I think he came in great spirit.
Yes, we got Virginia on the phone. What's happening, VA?
What's happening? It's your boy Sapani Patty.
Halito.
My family.
How are you, good brother?
Peace, family.
I'm doing good. I just want to say something to the sisters that called in. Just getting started in this thing like me, trying to find your ancestry and your ancestors. You got to stay strong. I got a big family too, and it always seemed like nobody was interested but me. So you saw what I'm the eldest son, and I'm the only one doing it. But your family want to know that information. They might not want to do the work, but when I'm finding out, they want to know. So as I go along, I try to share what I can share with them about family history and everything else. And then they start coming around. It'll take a while, but they start coming around.
Right. I definitely get it. We've all been there. And I'm hoping that you guys are working through those situations. But I'm gonna tell you, don't give up. Don't throw in the towel because these things change. The same place where you are now is where I saw myself a few years back. So again, I think Turtle Gang gave the perfect example. You just gotta lead by example. Sometimes you gotta step out there first and have something tangible that they could sink their teeth into. They will be less reluctant to talk any shit. They'll be less reluctant to have any resistance because not only is it something that's going to apply to their immediate situation, but they may also find some relief that they can deal with their own instead of, having to go punch a clock for other oppressors and make other families wealthy and rich and put their name in lights. You know what I'm saying? And in remembrance. So Again, I'm just gonna tell everybody, man. And keep in mind, it don't have to be your whole entire family. Some of us is grown with grown children. That's your tribe too.
And the thing is, when you start dealing with what's beautiful about family is when you establish your connection to your nation, the rest of your family does not have to agree. That's their opinion. But guess what? They still a part of it because it's a blood tie. I don't need nobody in my family to agree with me. They could completely disagree with me. But when I sit down with the chiefs that I sit down with and I tell them my family names and they're like, oh, you family, it's a wrap. It don't matter what the federal government says, what the state says. It don't matter what some pseudo dudes in Harlem say. It don't matter what none of these people say.
That's right.
When these chiefs or when these people who we give authority to, right? When I say we, I'm saying we all are a part of a nation, right? Part of a clan, part of a family, right? Your grandmother has authority over you, but if you don't give it to her, she has no, you know what I'm saying? Like we all are our own individuals. So when you go to grandma's house, like you could very easily go there and be disrespectful and uncooperative, and boom, your grandmother has nothing over you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is not a physical thing. You know what I mean? This is dealing with respect, right? So when I sit with people and I give them jurisdiction over me, it's based on lineage and heritage. But if I don't want to, I don't have to adhere to none of that. But it doesn't change who I am. So the people in our family that don't agree, it don't matter. You know, this is like, and I'm not trying to go biblical on people, but that's what the story of Noah was about. Build the ark. You know what I mean? Like when them floods hit, they all gonna want to jump, all gonna want to ride. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not a biblical person. I'm not gonna sit up here and come out the Bible, but I know what that story represents.
That's
right. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Well, thank you so much for calling. I want to answer some other calls. Okay, thank you so much, brother.
Okay, thanks.
Peace out that you can. Okay, we got another caller here. I think I just dropped it. Let me pull him back. There we go. Halito, California.
Yes, peace.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love, sis.
Did you have?
Are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, can you? Oh, okay. I apologize. Much peace and respect to both of you. I assume the brother Turtle Gang can hear me as well.
Yes, I can hear you, sister. Peace.
Okay, peace. Oh, it is such an honor to speak to both of you. This is Sister Earth Angel here in Los Angeles, and I have a question, and it's to either one of you, or both of you can give me a response. I would really, really appreciate it and respect that very much. As far as the term Indian, what is the benefit of using that term Indian as a status? And the reason why I ask that is because my elders always taught that, well, I'm just going to just keep it real. They used to say, like, well, white folks are the ones who called us Indians. We never told them we were Indians. But we knew we were the Aboriginal people of the land. You know, we are one with the land. So this term Indian, as now that as an adult and, you know, going to school and getting a degree and really digging into this thing and doing research, I'm wondering, what is the benefit of this term Indian?
Okay, well, this is why we have to understand the importance of self-identifying, right? None of us called ourselves Indians, right? That's a xenonym. That's something that was placed on us by foreigners. You should identify by your tribal identity, what you called yourselves. My people are called Lenni Lenape, right? That's what we called ourselves. They attached Indian. We are the Lenni Lenape Indians, right? But that's different than me saying I'm an Indian. See what I'm saying? As opposed to me saying I'm Lenni Lenape. That's the exact who I am. Indian is just now a term they use to identify Lenni Lenape as the indigenous nations, one of the indigenous nations that was here when they arrived, right? But I don't go around telling people I'm Indian. I tell them I'm Lenni Lenape.
Right.
So it's important for us to understand, to really do the work and find out exactly who we are. So when we have these conversations, we don't have to be identified by colonial terms. And then this question is now null and void. See what I'm saying? We need to be finding out exactly who we were. And until we find out who we are exactly, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost to a point where it's like, all right, maybe you should fall back a little before you get into these conversations. Because then you're going to end up getting sidetracked by, well, Indian means this, and we're not from India, and all these, like, all these wordplay games. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I tell people this is who I am, you can check where we're from. You can see our history. If you tell somebody you Indian, okay, what Indian are you? You know what I mean? So I wouldn't suggest that being used as a title for anybody unless you're attaching it to your actual national or tribal identity. You know what I'm saying? It's like saying I'm a football player. Okay, well, what team you play for?
You play for. That's right.
You know what I mean? Anybody can play football. 6-year-olds play football. You know what I mean? Everybody ain't playing for an NFL team. So everybody ain't playing for a college team. You know what I mean? So this is what I, it's cool if you haven't, when you start getting into conversations that are like on a legal level, or you know what I mean, like you're introducing yourself to people that don't know you, I would suggest that you know what I mean, try to narrow down who you are and use those terms.
That's right. That's right.
Well, when I self-identify as an Aboriginal American, that is the term that I use, or just an American. When anyone asks me what is my identity or my nationality or my ethnicity, I tell them I'm American. And if they say, oh, well, are you aren't you Black American? Because I had a professor say that to me once in class. He said, don't you mean Black American? I said, no, professor, I mean American. I'm an Aboriginal American. My lineage and my bloodline, we are of this land. I know you're looking at me and you're saying that because of my appearance that you're perceiving, but I'm not from wherever you're thinking. I'm from here, and we're the Aboriginal people. So I identify as that, and the term Indian is a term that I just choose not to use because so many groups, different population groups, are using this term, and it's like a plethora of different groups that are using this term Indian. So it just seems like a general term that, anyone can claim, or they could claim to have Indian blood. But, when you're talking about Aboriginal people, you're speaking of a distinct people. We're distinct. And no other people who can like even attach themselves to us. Because if you know on your lineage and you've done your genealogy with Sister Phoenix, I understand that's something that you have expert skills in, and I have much respect for that. I have done my genealogy somewhat, and I have genealogy records that have been passed on to me from elders, but no one else can claim Aboriginal but the Aborigines.
See, this is
Aboriginal people are all over the earth. We're on every single continent. And so we're the American Aborigines. And I think we need to be very clear, and we need to stand on that truth. And this term Indian to me is just a general term. So many people, they claim to be Indians. I'm out here in California, a lot of these hybrid population groups are claiming to be Indians and claiming to be indigenous, but they cannot claim Aboriginal. And so I think we need to hold fast to that and stand on that truth and build on that. And I just really wanted to get some feedback because like Brother just said, and when you look at it, in law. I'm looking at the United States codes right now. I pulled up 25 U.S. Code 1603, which is definitions. And they go into the definition of Indian. When we're dealing with the government, they have it defined here, who is an Indian to them. And it's what they say. And so it's like I'm confirming what my elders taught me as a little child. You know, this is like folks told us we never told us we that. And that's what this USC code is actually doing, telling you who an Indian is, because they say so. So I find it interesting that they do not have a description or even a policy on Aboriginal people. And,
right.
And if you look through the law, you will see that they have tried to extinguish the whole Aboriginal ownership of land. They have tried to extinguish the whole Aboriginal identity. And I think that's something that if we as Aboriginal people, if we stand on that truth, they can't extinguish us out if we're saying that's who we are. But if some of us are saying Aboriginal, and then some of us over here are saying Indians, and some of us are claiming urban Indians, and we're claiming all these different things, it's like, who are you?
Right.
It's like, really, who are you? So, like I said, I'm confirming a lot of things that my elders taught me as a child, because I didn't learn in Webster's Dictionary 1828 that I'm an Aboriginal. I learned from my elders as a child,
right,
that we're Aboriginal people. I was told that from my elders to my ears, that we are the Aboriginal people of this land, and they weren't educated. They weren't educated. Like my mother got a GED when she was in her 30s. These were not, but they had an oral tradition that they passed down. They knew we're the people of this land. That
right.
Our ancestors' blood and bone make up this soil.
Right.
Make up this soil. And of course, we got all separated and segregated and mixed all up when the onslaught came. And so a lot of us lost the knowledge of which distinct, clan we were from, or what, and we had to like come together and pull together the best way we could as far as being a people. And Turtle Gang, you're very fortunate that you're able to have that oral tradition and the documentation to prove an unbroken lineage, but everybody does not have that. Everyone doesn't have that. But we know by blood who we are, because this bloodline over here, this O positive blood is distinct, and it's Aboriginal to this land. And we know by blood that that's who we are. So I just wanted to get some clarity on the term Indian. I've already gone to the courts, and I stood down here in
Sister.
LA, Superior Court, before a judge with my petition, declaring who I am as an Aboriginal American. It took me about a year to get that petition actually signed and verified as far as my identity and for my children and for all my generations to come. I made that declaration, but I haven't found in this journey what really is the next step. But for me, I just want to connect and connect with us as a body politic. I see that as the next move.
Well, as sister.
I'm listening to you, and I thank you, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. And Sister Phoenix, I really would respect and love to hear some feedback from you on me going on and on like this. But I will try and stay in contact. I got your email address, and I'll definitely make contact with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, sister. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes.
Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I wouldn't get, again, you still have America, again, the Lenape Indian Treaty, the Cherokee Indian Treaty.
There's no Aboriginal treaties.
There's no Aboriginal treaty, and
there's
even though
man.
there's there's no such thing as an Aboriginal treaty. We know that we are Aboriginal to this land, but that's not a nationality. That is a statement, and it's rather vague because especially if you're not saying American Aborigine, you might, you would still have to, and that's your personal preference because you have the right to self-determine, right? But if you want to stay in the guidelines of what's important, and again, we're dealing with these 13 colonies. Okay, we're dealing with what happened, what was established prior to the United States being the company that it is today. So when you're looking in U.S. codes and regulations are not law, and if it's repugnant to the Constitution, which is in place for we the people, then it would be null and void. So when we look at what those codes and stuff say, yes, public law will apply in certain instances, but on the natural side or the private side of things, you are always going to be able to attach yourself to the land prior to the United States being there. So the treaties and what's there, there is no treaty that says Native American. There's no treaty that says Aboriginal. So we want to be careful with that, knowing that the difference between a Native American and American Indian is one thing, and knowing what an Aboriginal is and what it means in law as far as the dictionaries and stuff, the Black's Law and the Bouvier and those other books that we know for a fact that they use as references in law, is still not going to supersede who was here before they set up shop with all of this other fancy stuff.
Like, like, I don't want to offend nobody. I don't want to push anybody away. But like all these terms, like if you're going to call yourself something, like what language is it? Because language conveys jurisdiction, right? So if you call yourself Aboriginal, what language is the word Aboriginal from? What language is the word American from? Now, I know people will say American come from the term Amaruka, but American is the Romanized term. Right? And the definition of America is different than what Amaruka represented. And unless you are from Peru, you're not Amaruka. Right? So even when we take on the title of being American, that's general because a Brazilian is in America, but his nationality is Brazilian. You know what I'm saying? And Brazilian is the corporation that represents the interests of the many tribes that exist within that territory that we call Brazil. So those people, if you went to Brazil, they wouldn't even call themselves Brazilian. They would call themselves by whatever tribal term they go by or national term they go by. Like we call people Mexicans, right? But if you go to Mexico, there's 32 states that make up Mexico. And those people identify by their national title, not Mexican. Mexican is a general term, right? And all these people are different people. And America does not come from Amerigo Vespucci. That's absolutely wrong. Like that's easy to say that. It's not right. Like Amerigo, that name is like a translation of names that appear differently according to whatever language you're speaking. Like you got to do your research on Amerigo Vespucci. Like he encountered the people that called their land Amaruka, right? Amaruka sounds like Amerigo, but it's not the same word. It don't come from that. Like I have an entire website that deals with the different nuances of the origin of the word American.
Right.
And I put the link in here for people to go look, but it has to do with the people in Peru, and Amaruka is their deity. It's actually a religious title. It's their deity, right? And it only represented their territory. But the people who created the first map, right, the 1509 map, which is entitled the Birth Certificate of America, these are the people that they encountered. These were Germans. They encountered these people. They used the information that Amerigo Vespucci provided, and they created a name for the entire continent. 2 continents. Like nobody else on this continent called this land America. One group of people called it Amaruka. Now, if we're saying we're all those people, then that might be applicable, but I know we're not all those people. Like, that's information that's too easily, like it's made so easily available for us. We just have to do the research and find out. And you'll see that's got nothing to do with all the many nations. Like, they tell you 500, but it was over 1,500 nations.
Right.
And none of them called themselves the Americans. The Amaruka didn't even call themselves American. That's just the name of their deity.
Right. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you for saying that. Definitely drop that in the chat for the people. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get it now.
We got Virginia on the phone. Halito, Virginia, what's happening with you?
Peace and love, family. Halito, Sister Phoenix, Total Gang. Look, I
Jeez,
am
bro.
in Virginia, and my family, I've been doing a genealogical search, and on my mom's side, and I found that we're part Chickahominy Indian in one area, and my grandfather, my mom's dad's side is Nottoway. And in trying to do a search, I run into a stumbling block because I got back to right around 1797, and I can't get any records from anywhere, and it's like the courthouses, I haven't gone there yet, but I guess my question is, where do I go to start to find the records that might be missing since they reclassified us with Mr. Plecker back in 24 and all that? And like just like Brother Turtle Gang was saying, I'm like the person in that family who was like the trouble guy. And when I got turned around and started to find my way and started to walk the path to find my creator and to find out who I really am, I have family members who've come out of a religious system to join me, and we know that we're on the proper path, but we are running into some roadblocks. And there's a tribe out here in Southampton County, but they're like federally recognized, and I'm a little skeptical because I'm not trying to like lean on the government, and I don't know if my question, I guess, will be: do I go to the library or the courthouse? What's the best route to take if I can't find it through the actual state records?
I would go to the local libraries, the local municipalities, and I would search through all the records they have.
That's right.
They tell you that all these records are burnt, but that's just what they're telling you. You got to go, like, you're gonna have to go develop relationships with people that work in these libraries.
That's right.
It ain't gonna be as easy as you think. You need to go there. Don't even tell them what you're there first. Just go there and just, the spook who sat by the door. Just go there and develop relationships with these people, and then start to ask questions.
That's right.
Like, we be running to burning buildings.
I'm pretty peaceful when it comes to searching out things because I've always swam upstream. I don't go with the crowd, and I'm finding that I know that I'm part of a tribe. If
Absolutely.
I am the first one to reform it, then that's fine. But I guess what you're telling me is to go to the library or the courthouses and just develop a rapport with those people and have them help me do the research. All right?
This is what's important. Every town, city, whatever, has a historical organization, right?
Yeah.
And these would be made up of white folks who were some of the first people to settle that area. And they're very proud of their history and their interaction with the indigenous tribes. Those people have all the records. You understand? Like, because it's a part of it's what separates them from the rest of the Europeans that came here. You know what I mean? They're proud to be the first ones to intermarry with the natives, to live with the natives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are all historical societies. Find out the historical society in all these towns that your people lived in. and that information is going to be there. You're just going to have to develop a relationship with these people before they turn it over to you.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. That's what I'll do, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
We'll walk that path.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for calling.
Peace and love. Thank you guys so much for spending.
Peace and love.
Thank you. Peace, Brother Wanishi.
Halito, Michigan. Thank you for calling. Peace and love.
How you doing?
I am well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to hear that.
I'm calling from Michigan.
It's cold out there.
Peace, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Calling.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm just calling because I just got some stuff from the American Community Survey. I think it's a precursor to the census.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I haven't started. I've done just some preliminary searching in terms of my lineage, but I have no doubt about my family being Indian. Because we got pictures and things of that nature, things that my parents have said. But they've been pressing me about filling out this census material. And so I was just wondering, since I haven't done the investigation to connect the bloodlines to the tribes, but what do you guys recommend as far as what a person should put in these designations that they have? They always have American Indian, African American, white, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, yeah, I would say any opportunity you get, you would probably want to list your full tribal name. Do you remember what your grandmother identified you as? Any of the elders that spoke on your American Indian ancestry, did they give you a name? Did they tell you we're Blackfeet, or did they tell you that we're Chickahominy? Have you ever heard those things? How far are you in your genealogical studies? You might want to check the counties. There's always going to be some sort of documentation. And again, I tell you, a lot of these things are in obscure books. It might be the book of genealogy in a specific town, and it may highlight a family that may be of foreign descent, like the Van Zants for that for example. And within that book of everything that they're documenting about the Van Zants, there's other interactions, their personal papers, their dealings and business dealings that they have. A lot of these things are recorded, and our ancestors are in these books doing business and all sorts of different type of trade things. Little caveats, definitely military records for the men. You definitely want to check all of these different areas. And like I said, don't stay stuck on one particular relative. You always going to have what's called the collateral lines. So if you lose some, you look for the siblings, look for, the men, their names don't change. So there's going to be so many things that will lead you back to what tribe you belong to. And you'll find that you belong to many different tribes. You're of mixed lineages of indigenous people here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because my parents, they were young when they left the South. This was in the 20s. So matter of fact, I think they basically escaped. So they didn't talk too much. Well, my father was too young to really speak about it. But under the circumstances, because they were like sharecroppers, and from the information I've heard from you and from Turtle Gang, sharecropping was something that didn't necessarily mean that you were a slave.
Oh, absolutely. You were sharing your crops with somebody. There was some sort of cooperative extension going on.
The reason why they didn't leave the South like some other relatives did, was
right?
Because they was on the plantation and they were formerly slaves, but that wasn't. I don't think that was the case.
a lot of times when people were freed, they would just end up staying on, or I should say manumitted, they would end up staying on.
To be my great grandmother, and she's obviously in this Indian garb. And I said, wow, coupled with the things that you guys have been informing, I said, wow, I better do some research on this. But again, I haven't had the opportunity to cover all the bases like I should, or like I'm going to have to. But they just been pressing me about this census stuff. So I figured I better call you guys and see what you guys thought about as far as figuring out at this point in time.
Right. Well,
I appreciate it, and like I'm an old guy, so I'm in my 60s. I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and it's something that I hope that the young people get involved, because it's a mindset. Even at my stage in my life, if I had this mindset 40 years ago, I can't imagine how I would be thinking. And I think it's a problem for us in this country. They got us faked out with all these other terms, we need all these other things, because based on the fact that we don't know who we are. So again, I appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and I wish you the best.
I thank you so much. I thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you want to touch on that, Norris?
Well, I wanted to go back to the brother that talked about what should they identify as if they don't know their exact tribe. Like, I would say that when you start cross-referencing locations of where your ancestors were living at the time, whether it be the 1700s, 1800s, what you're going to find out is that there's going to be active tribes in that territory, or there will be records of tribes that left that territory for whatever reasons. Like, I don't want to deal with assumption, but 9 times out of 10, your people would have been connected to those tribes via marriage or blood. You know what I mean? So personally, I would think it would be safe to say, like my elders tell me, or they told us growing up, all Black people in New Jersey are related, either through blood or marriage. You know what I mean? We all Lenape. Even if it's via the culture, because you can be somewhere and be a part of that culture and live that life, and you would be a part of that tribe. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just a blood thing. So I would say if you've exhausted your searches and you've located places where your people were born, start investigating the tribes that were in that area in that time and just previous, just prior to the times when your ancestors were born. You know what I mean? Start to see if there's some similarities in the cultures they lived, certain things they did. And a lot of these things may give you an idea of, okay, we were connected to those people. And I would say it would be safer to write in that. And then at the next census, if you have more information, then you correct it. You know what I mean? This is going to be an ongoing process.
Yes, I agree. Okay, we do have another caller. We got another Michigan caller. Halito, Michigan.
Halito, how are you doing tonight?
How you doing, brother?
All right, this is Wingapo. As you see, I definitely enjoy Sister Phoenix Moon. You've been going to work, sister. I'm watching it all unfold. It's a beautiful thing, sister. I really appreciate that. Brother Turtle Gang, I watch what you do. It's really, really refreshing to see the information that's coming out. I'm calling to support, and just to let you know that the Eastern Band of the Catawba Sapani Sioux, we definitely we run pretty deep. I think you probably see us in the chats quite a bit.
Yes.
You'll see Ghost, or AKA Wanagi. You'll see Opemaha.
Carrie Bay, Iowa. You'll see quite a few names that we all run together, what we call the Wolf Pack. And one of the things I would like to say is that it would be nice to see our chief, Richard L. Haycock, be able to sit down and chat with your chief, Brother Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely have to talk to my chief about that, you know what I mean? But I'm sure if it's all in good spirits and you know, I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem with that. I can't speak for him, but I'm sure he would be up for that.
All right.
I mean,
I know a lot of people are trying to get in, but the support is here for y'all. Thank you for let me get the call in, and you know I'm here always.
Oh, and brother, I just like to say that, you know, if you're on Facebook, my chief is online. He's on Facebook, and your chief is more than welcome to reach out to him on Facebook and create a relationship with him, and then we could have, you know, further dialogue. You know, I mean, that's what I would suggest.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yes, indeed.
All right,
brother, you got my number. We'll get in touch with each other sometime this week, okay?
Yes, that sounds marvelous. Keep it going. I appreciate it, sister.
Thanks for all your support and well wishes and your overall good vibrations. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you, sister.
Peace and love. Well, you know, we're gonna be wrapping this up. I'm so thrilled that you were here, Norris. Thank you so much. I feel corny because I don't want to refresh the screen because for some reason my camera is not turning on. But at least we're not having no audio problems, you know, so got to be thankful for that. But I'm really happy that you came here. I've been really excited about this. The people, they love the vibe in the chat. Everything's smooth. There's no headache. There's no wars going on. I love when the American Indians get together and we have these moments where, you know, we could sit back and kick it and talk about some of these things. I hope you guys were able to get some clarity, particularly just on the basic things that were going on around the census. I'm looking, maybe we can get back for a part 2 and speak with Brother Two Hawks because he was the one that invited us, and certainly he'll be able to give great detail and give some more clarity and pretty much just lay it out for everybody. He's really, really great at that.
Yeah, he's a good brother.
Very good brother, very, very good brother, family person. And, you know, some of you the guys are doing some really wonderful things. I want to tell you, I appreciate y'all, you know, going from those circumstances where people was in the streets and, you know, just doing what they used to do, man. Those things have changed, and it's nice to see y'all maturing, getting them salt and pepper beards and stuff like that. Some of y'all brothers work really hard to stay out the system, and you know, just do the right thing. And I respect y'all so much. I respect y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all putting in that work, and you know, we definitely want to give some thanks for that. Much gratitude, y'all sisters. Y'all working hard. Again, let's just get this commerce together. This is what's going to be important. That's always going to be a good opportunity to bring the family together. If somebody win the lotto, everybody going to want in, right? So this is some of the situations that you're going to have to present in order for people to trust you and want to take it to the next level and be involved, you know, and that makes it all worth the while. You know, I want to give Turtle Game the opportunity to close out and say his final things. And y'all was a dope crowd tonight in the chat, and you know what it is.
Well, I just want to say, Welagun Tawakin, Ilan Kumaki, Wanishi, Anushik. Thank you to everybody. You know, I consider you all my beloved relatives. You know, just stay diligent, and just know that anything I do or say, you know, I'd like to think I have people's best interests at heart. Sometimes I can be a little, you know, maybe offensive at times or whatever, but I just really, you know, I really want to see our people grow and you know, learn to love, learn to embrace that which we don't understand so we can grow from it, you know, and you'll find out that you'll become a better person when you deal with things that way, you know what I mean? And understand that, you know, we our own people. Nobody can stop us from doing what we need to do but ourselves. So just be diligent, man, and continue. And I'm gonna thank you for having me on the show. And you know, anytime you want to reach out and want to have me back on, I'm definitely here for you.
Oh,
You
I
know,
appreciate
thank
that.
you to everybody.
Yes, make sure they looking for them hoodies, man. Them quality hoodies.
Yeah, yeah.
And the you know the items that you have. I don't care if it's backpacks, promote it. I love to see how people getting money. I don't wish poverty on nobody. Everybody get your money, especially if you're trying to do it the right way and do the right thing, like Spike Lee. So product services, I'm always gonna push it. I'm not funny style. You know, whatever it is in the indigenous community, you know, I don't discriminate. You got product, I'll pass it through. I don't have to have a, you know, a personal adornment for you or anything like that. I'm not funny style. We got to create these businesses. We got to learn how to deal with each other, how to trade and bargain and stuff like that. So don't be intimidated by whatever personal thing you feel about me. I know how to place things appropriately to where we can get things done that's not going to interfere, you know, with the bigger picture here. And those are the people that I'm looking to deal with and be around, as far as, you know, helping to fortify what it is that we're trying to do. So just keep that in mind. I know I get hard sometimes, but at the end of the day, it comes from a place of love. And it's also going to come from a place of protection. I am a mother. I am a fighter. And I fight for what I love. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not a pushover. And, you know, sometimes I know people think that I'm really aggressive, but I'm the same way when it comes to being by your side, whether it's to protect you or just to give you support. It's going to be the same thing. I'm the same way all the time. I hope y'all know that. There's no hate for anybody at all. I want to see everybody doing good. But, you know, charity begins at home, and we got to start here. It starts with us, and it's going to end with us.
Absolutely. And you know, I just like to say, reach out to those that you don't understand. Try and gain some understanding from them.
Right.
All the nations. You know what I mean?
I agree. I want to thank y'all so much. Shout out to my twin sister, Wayne. I see you out there, beloved. Love you so much, 20. All the beautiful moderators, Uwetsi, Dark Man, Sister Liz, Killer. I appreciate you all. Lorenzo, all of y'all, thank you so much. I hope all is well. Thanks for chilling with Norris and I this wonderful Friday. It's a turtle world. Feathers up, beautiful ones. Chipisa la chique. Let's see.